Zhang Yixian, welcome back. In fact, I have always wanted your telekinesis. Yuan Kongye put Zhang Yixian's body on the ground and slowly stood up. Within 10 meters of her, there suddenly appeared an invisible barrier appeared. The powerful floating cannon almost destroyed the church, but it could not get past her mental wall. Zhang Yi reminded, she has at least dozens of superpowers. Everyone should be careful. Xiao Honglian's eyes were filled with murderous intent. No matter how powerful she is, I don't believe that the power of all the mutants in Tianhai City can't kill her. Her whole body had long been covered with red flames, and dark red lines like magma flowed on the surface of her skin. She quickly ran to another direction and spit out a huge fire dragon towards Yuan Kongye. No one needed to deliberately give orders. The mutants present who could survive until now were all elites among the elites and knew how to fight and cooperate. The crowd divided into 3 directions and used long-range attack superpowers to attack Yuan Kongye. Melee-type reinforcement and Beastman ability users were ready to wait for Yuan Kongye to show an opening and then rush up to give her a fatal blow. Various superpowers flew towards Yuan Kongye like a torrential rain. However, no matter what kind of attack she faced, Yuan Kongye's face remained calm. It seemed that there was a spherical field outside her body, which could block any attack. White light was flickering in Zhang Yi's eyes. He really wanted to know whether his divine power could break through Yuan Kongye's mental barrier. But this was his trump card, which could not be used easily, and he had to wait until the right opportunity appeared. But at this moment, Yuan Kongye's body suddenly floated slowly into the air. She looked down at everyone from above like a god descending to the world. The followers of the snow cult in the distance saw this scene, and they knelt down on the spot excitedly, shouting the name Snow God. At this time, Yuan Kongye, who was suspended in the air, looked down at all living beings like a god. She remained motionless despite all kinds of supernatural attacks. Udi couldn't believe his eyes. His floating cannon was more powerful than a sniper rifle, and even close to the power of a real rocket launcher. But why were so many floating cannons taken by Yuan Kongye so easily? Zhang Yi realized that something was wrong, and quietly retreated behind everyone. Yuan Kongye looked at them and said coldly, "Foolish and insignificant people, you don't understand what kind of existence you are against. I am the apostle of God on earth, the messenger who exercises divine power. All acts of blasphemy against divine power will be punished by heaven." After she said that, she suddenly opened her arms slowly. "Let me cleanse this faithless world." As she began to raise her arms, the ground beneath everyone's feet suddenly began to shake violently. Zhang Yi and others lost their balance and almost fell to the ground. Cracks appeared on the ground as if there was an earthquake. In Zhang Yi's surprised eyes, the ground began to float up. Zhang Yi had already turned on the 8-fold speed, and the figure retreated like a ghost. Others also felt something was wrong and moved away from Yuan Kongye's position. However, all the surrounding buildings were collapsing. The ground was breaking and huge rocks were flying into the air like meteorites all over the sky. Such a powerful ability made Bailey Changqing and others shrink their pupils. They knew that Yuan Kongye was very strong, but they didn't expect her to be so strong. They had seen this kind of world-destroying power an hour ago. They didn't expect to see it again so soon. Level 5, the power of an Epsilon-level mutant. After absorbing the abilities of Bian Junwu and Zhang Yixian, Yuan Kongye successfully broke through to this level. Yuan Kongye looked at everyone with cold eyes and pressed down hard with his white right hand. The huge rocks in the sky smashed towards everyone on the ground like meteors. Countless boulders rose high into the sky and then quickly fell to the ground in front of everyone's horrified eyes. Within a radius of several kilometers, this was an indiscriminate attack, like a meteor shower. But it was not beautiful, but full of the horror of destruction. Seeing that it was too late to dodge, everyone was trying their best to resist with their own abilities. Zhang Yi was the easiest to deal with this kind of attack. His dimensional door was opened, and no matter how huge the rocks were, they would just disappear silently into another dimension. Compared to the two of them, the others looked much more embarrassed. Xiao Honglian's fire attack had little effect on the boulders. She could only use the purgatory furnace to strengthen her body and quickly dodge in the meteor shower. But the rocks flew through the air and the boulders fell one after another, making her extremely embarrassed. And many mutants were unable to dodge in time, and after being hit by the boulders, they didn't even have the chance to scream, and they turned directly into a pool of meat paste. "Come to me!" Zhang Yi shouted to everyone. At this moment, in order to deal with Yuan Kongye, everyone's strength must be gathered. If everyone else is killed, Zhang Yi will be unable to do it alone, and he must try his best to protect these people. When the others saw Zhang Yi easily blocking the rain of boulders with the help of the dimensional gate, they immediately gathered in his direction. As enemies in the past, they hated Zhang Yi's spatial ability with gnashing teeth. But now, as comrades on the same front, this ability gave them a great sense of security. Everyone quickly ran behind Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi opened the huge dimensional gate and blocked it above his head, like opening a big umbrella to prevent the raindrops from falling on everyone's heads. But these raindrops are not water, but boulders that can turn people into meat paste. However, they can hide under the dimensional gate, but some people can't avoid it. That is the ordinary believers and mutants of the Baishu sect. When they first saw Yuan Kongye display his miraculous skills, they all knelt down and were filled with joy. However, Yuan Kongye's attack was indiscriminate, covering them as well. They were completely defenseless, and they were wiped out in an instant. "You guys come back too," Yuan Kongye said lightly. "The remaining mutants of the Baishu sect are no longer of any extra value. It would be better to let them return to the kingdom of God, and then their power will be gathered on Yuan Kongye. Zheng Yixian is dead. Yuan Kongye must win this battle. Only in this way can they build a world without filth." Han Chang and the other two found something wrong at the beginning, so they didn't get close. But seeing Yuan Kongye kill all the believers with their own eyes, their faith completely collapsed. Yuan Kongye lowered her head and stared at Zhang Yi and whispered, "I want your spatial power too." She slowly raised her hand like a god, stretched out a finger and pointed at Zhang Yi and the others. Above the ground, the boulders that had already fallen shook violently and then rose into the air again, turning into a huge storm of rocks around Zhang Yi and the others. There were flying boulders in all directions, and Zhang Yi and the others were at the center of the storm. Zhang Yi's eyes condensed. He could only open two-dimensional gates at the same time and could not defend all directions at all. Yuan Kongye's telekinesis was many times stronger than Zheng Yixian's, and they were not at the same level at all. Is this the end for us? But the others were not idle either. Xingtian activated his ability, Xingtian Legion. This is a supernatural power that can be blessed on everyone to improve their combat effectiveness. These are the only remaining strongest mutant legions in Tianhai City. With the blessing, their combat effectiveness has been raised to a higher level. Flame Dragon Breath, Ice Blizzard. Xiao Honglian and Wei Dinghai attacked at the same time, and the flames and blizzards swept in two directions, impacting the rocks there. Qi Guangming of the investigation team raised his head, looked at Yuan Kongye in the air, and raised the black sniper rifle in his hand with a serious look. "Catch the leader first." Only by dealing with Yuan Kongye can everything end. Dealing with the rocks alone is useless. A stream of black light shot out from the muzzle of his gun. Yuan Kongye's eyes were cold, and he didn't care about the bullet at all. But the next moment, her brows slightly frowned, because this bullet actually penetrated her telekinetic barrier. However, the bullet stopped when it was less than 1 meter away from her. Qi Guangming frowned even deeper. "She has too many abilities, and we can't deal with them at all." Zhang Yi looked at him curiously. "What kind of bullet did you use that could penetrate her telekinetic barrier?" He clearly remembered that Wu Di's countless floating cannons could not affect the telekinetic barrier at all. Qi Guangming glanced at him. "Origin bullet, specially used to deal with mutant creatures. Mutants naturally also include mutants." Hearing this, Zhang Yi couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Jiangnan District is Jiangnan District. It's been less than half a year since the end of the world, and even bullets specifically used to deal with mutants have been developed. But thinking about it carefully, this thing has no effect on him. Because his dimensional door is strictly speaking not a defensive ability, but a door to another dimension. Origin bombs are mostly used to attack mutants who rely on supernatural powers for defense, such as enhanced mutants, orc mutants, and mutants with telekinetic barriers. Just at this moment, Bailey Chang King's voice interrupted his thoughts. "We can't let her control the rhythm like this. From now on, everyone listen to my command." He stared at Yuan Kongye in the air, his eyes more focused than ever before. No matter how powerful her supernatural powers are now, a young girl still lacks combat experience. Then she will easily reveal her flaws. Bailey Chang King quickly formulated a battle plan for everyone. He had discovered a weakness of Yuan Kongye. That is, she could not do two things at the same time. When Qi Guangming attacked her with the Origin Bullet, her telekinetic control and mastery ability was significantly reduced, and the speed of the rock storm slowed down. "You continue to attack with long-range skills, Qi Guangming. Use the Origin Bullet to contain her actions. I will be responsible for the main attack. As for the killer move..." Bailey Chang King glanced at Zhang Yi next to him. From beginning to end, Zhang Yi did not attack once, but Bailey Chang King knew that he had a big killer move hidden. Kamui! Although the attack range is not very large, in terms of power, Kamui is definitely not inferior to Bian Junwu's destruction. "We will give you a chance to deal a fatal blow to Yuan Kongye," Bailey Chang King said with a smile. "I will go and entangle her. If necessary, you can kill me together." Zhang Yi, Xiao Honglian, and others couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts when they heard this. Bailey Chang King was so determined to kill Yuan Kongye. But when the other members of the investigation team heard this, they seemed to be used to it. In order to carry out the mission, they had already put life and death aside. It's not that they are not afraid of death, but sometimes sacrifice is necessary, otherwise it will cause greater losses. For example, today, if they can't kill Yuan Kongye, no one will leave alive. Zhang Yi nodded. Okay. Bailey Chang King chose to bear the greatest pressure alone. Because among the people present, in terms of close combat ability, no one can even approach his level. "Well, let's get started," Bailey Chang King shouted. Xiao Honglian and others quickly took action and launched a fierce attack on Yuan Kongye. Qi Guangming also raised his gun and fired another Origin Bullet. Yuan Kongye knew that the black bullet should not be taken lightly, so he frowned slightly and raised his hand to condense a huge wall in front of her. Although the Origin Bullet has special functions for mutants, as a bullet, its physical attack ability is relatively ordinary. The huge wall blocked it. Yuan Kongye waved her right hand, and all the superpowers that attacked her were extinguished in the air like flames being poured with water. At this moment, Bailey Chang King had turned into a black lightning, leaping high from the ground, holding a huge knight's lance and attacking Yuan Kongye's back. Silently and moving like thunder, the lance pierced Yuan Kongye's back with tremendous force. Yuan Kongye's eyes condensed. She didn't look back, but she had already noticed Bailey Chang King's attack. Buzz! An invisible ripple swayed in the air and the telekinetic barrier blocked her back. But the huge knight's spear stabbed over, and it actually broke through half a meter from the barrier and was less than 30 centimeters away from her back. Bailey Chang King held the knight's spear tightly with both hands, and his silver teeth were about to break. He couldn't continue to exert force in the air, and this charged attack failed, and that was it. But at this moment, Zhang Yi made a move. The momentary distraction of Yuan Kongye that everyone had fought for was the moment for him to make a move with his divine power. The blue light flashed in his pupils, and then it was aimed at Yuan Kongye in the air, and even covered Bailey Chang King behind her. Masters fight. Life and death are just a matter of a moment. Yuan Kongye's distraction allowed Zhang Yi to lock on. Kamui! The terrifying pressure distorted the space, and finally made Yuan Kongye's eyes appear shocked. Zhang Yi actually knows pupil skills. Between her and Zhang Yi, the space showed a strange distortion. It was like a rag being twisted from opposite directions by two people. Yuan Kongye said, "Then let's see whose pupil technique is more powerful, Bian Junwu's or yours." Destruction! At this moment, a dazzling yellow light burst out from Yuan Kongye's eyes, covering the surrounding world. Silently, a bizarre sphere appeared in the space between the two people, and even the light was distorted.